Here we go.
I first started hearing whispers about Strange Darling back at Fantastic Fest 2023 last fall, where a couple people saw it, said that it's a movie that you should go into it blind and keep it on your radar for whenever it gets wide release. And now that it's finally being released, I saw the opportunity to go see it. I didn't watch a trailer. I took a bit of a glimpse at the plot synopsis, which thankfully does not give anything away really. And I just went in fairly blind, and that's the best way to go into this movie because it's an unpredictable, twisted, wild ride. And this is a movie that really does feel like a roller coaster. But as we get into the rest of this review, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy it, and comment down below what are your thoughts or expectations for Strange Darling. But let's keep talking about it. Now, as this video goes on, I'm going to try to stay as vague as possible just to help out for the viewing experience, and just know that I would recommend going to see this movie like that. Don't know anything going into it. It starts off extremely bizarre. I was kind of getting very indie filmmaking vibes, and at first I didn't entirely know if I was going to vibe with the movie at all, really. It felt low budget, which is never a bad thing. It's just sometimes when you're watching a movie, and someone who watches so many movies like I do, I can fairly pick up on whether or not a movie feels low budget or not. The movie lets you know that it was shot entirely on 35mm, which is no easy task by any means. I would say that 35mm doesn't really mean much to a general audience member, but a real film fan knows that that's not something you see much of nowadays. And especially a movie that is pretty small budget, it doesn't have a big marketing campaign. What's also interesting, a little side note, is that actor Giovanni Ribisi was the director of photography for this film. That was a highlight throughout, and I didn't even know that he had any connection to the movie until the credits started to roll. I saw that he produced it, and then I saw his name as the director of photography, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Giovanni Ribisi, the actor. And for his first time as DP, this is a well-shot film. It's really actually remarkable, that shift from actor to behind the camera. In this case, I thought that was really cool, unpredicted in this wild movie. But aside from all of that, putting that all to the side, once I finally started to vibe with the movie, that was around 30-45 minutes in, this started to be a wacky and wild adventure. It's a movie that straight up is actually uncomfortable at times. I found myself kind of feeling a little bit on the edge of my seat. In some ways in the thrilling sense, but also it was just getting underneath my skin and kind of rubbing me the wrong ways. That's entirely what the movie's going for. Once you know the whole kind of idea surrounding the movie, it really starts to click in your head that it's like, this is all intentional. You really want to feel unnerved that was completely intentional, and the movie does a great job at making you feel that way, even by the end of it. The final shot just lingers for what felt like at least 2 minutes or so. It could have been even shorter, but the movie just lingers on our lead character, played by Willa Fitzgerald, who, by the way, is fantastic. This is, as far as I'm aware, her first leading role. Truly a remarkable performance because she carries so much of this movie, and so much of it works due to her zany nature. But that final shot, honestly, if I'm really getting nitpicky, probably lingers for a little bit too long, but I understand what it was going for. Really trying to get underneath your skin and leave the movie just continuing throughout your headspace as you're leaving the theater, however you're watching the movie. In a lot of ways, it's frankly gross. You are not supposed to be siding with these characters. In a lot of ways, it's frankly gross. Again, trying to be vague. Once you know what's going on, the movie effectively showcases the evil nature of what's going on. There's no point in sugarcoating it. It's fucked up. And the unpredictable nature of it all truly pays off in the end, especially as a viewer going in not knowing what you're in store for. Not knowing what's in store for you, it just keeps you more engaged. The movie also utilizes non-linear storytelling, which at first I was not crazy about, and I'm not entirely crazy about it unless it feels like the director really used it to its full advantage and really just managed to keep you engaged. In this case, I felt it. In a movie like Challengers, for example, which really bounces all over the place, I found it to be distracting. Just an example for here, I felt that it worked in the movie's favor. The movie is only an hour and a half, so it doesn't ever drag. Underneath the twisted nature it is a pretty entertaining movie, I would say, due to the fact that it keeps you engaged. Aside from Will Fitzgerald's lead performance, which is just great, Kyle Gallner as well, acting opposite her. They both kind of have to carry the movie. More Fitzgerald than Gallner, because Gallner is more supporting. But each of them really pull their weight in making for a genuinely memorable experience, a movie that is going to linger with you long after the credits roll. Strange Darling is not an accessible movie. I would not say that this is going to work for all audience members. The bizarre nature that I felt in the beginning that kind of went away from me, I could see some saying that that was their biggest complaint throughout, and that it just felt weird throughout and they weren't clicking with it. I could even see some complain that the movie doesn't really handle the subject matter with a sense of grace in a way. Because of how dark it is, it goes down the path of kind of having fun with the dark nature rather than leaving you really feeling moved in any sort of way by how disturbing what's going on. You're never really feeling for victims, I guess you could say. But for me, I felt like I could put that to the side and just let go and watch the movie unfold with its unpredictable nature. I don't want to sugarcoat it and have you going in thinking this is going to be the most unpredictable movie you have ever seen. I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but I do have to say that how the movie unfolds is fairly unconventional and not what you see out of a lot of thrillers surrounding the subject matter here. I have to give massive props to writer-director J.T. Molnar for taking a story like this and crafting it into a film that really just effectively leaves you unnerved, like I said. I'm going to give Strange Darling a B+, and I would definitely recommend seeing this one in a theater, going to support a smaller film like this if you have the ability to. This does feel like a smaller film. If you can go out and support it, I would recommend it, because it's always worth supporting a movie that not only is great, but leaves you with an experience like this one. But leaving the movie afterwards, you feel like you just went through an experience, a roller coaster, if you will, that goes all over the place. I want to thank you so much for watching this review, and as always, look forward to more content coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.